So the Grammy Awards happened recently, and it's usually known as the biggest night in music. But this time it's not the music, performances, or the awards that's making the headlines. As I was keeping up with the event, I saw one of the craziest things ever done in like the Grammys history. Yeah, like I said, this ain't about the music. Bianca Censori, I think that's how you say it. She is the woman that is blurred out in this clip. Now, if you don't know who she is, this is the wife of Kanye West, and I'm assuming you may or may not be familiar with him. Maybe you know his music or his fashion moves, or you probably heard of him not being on his meds again.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
Regardless, he's an important person. Now, he and his wife are finding themselves in the trenches of negativity after the Grammys. Before we go into this, let's look at what these two are known for, especially when they're out in public. Ever since their marriage in late 2022, this couple never shied away from stepping outside with some questionable wardrobe choices. And I'm just gonna throw up a few times where they were photoed and videoed by some paparazzi. As y'all can see, these two just look ridiculous most of the time. I'll cut Ye some slack because he's known for wearing some interesting outfits throughout the years. So it's nothing new for him, honestly. But his wife, on the other hand, well, it seems like it's normal for her to wear some very revealing and provocative clothing. It's no surprise she gets all the attention, especially when the paparazzi are around. And look at this one. She's wearing a whole recycling bag on her body. I mean, I can't imagine walking out the mansion like this, but you don't need imagination for what's next. So Ye and Bianca pulled up to the ceremony and walked the red carpet. Now, the red carpets at these award shows have been turning into the circus freak show nowadays. Just look at what Jaden Smith was wearing and you'll see what I mean. So you might be wondering what these two were gonna show off to the photographic piranhas we call the media. Well, Kanye was dressed okay, I would argue, nothing too crazy. And his wife had this big fur coat on, and at some point she took it off, and this is what we saw.
Beautiful, right here on the right.
And just like that, I was forced against my will to see it. Bianca must have been on Kanye's meds and thought she was getting in the shower, and maybe confused the Academy Awards red carpet for the bathroom. So yeah, she was all out bare nude for display to the world. Maybe not if you consider the slim see-through garment she had under, which some people pointed out that she was pulling down. Like, that's gonna cover stuff up. It's all out for everyone to see anyway. Like, what was the point of doing that? It's also worth mentioning that the photographers and media people had pretty much nothing to say about this. One person was like, oh. And then everyone just continued snapping pics like it was normal. Am I the only one that's picking that up? You're telling me there's not a single person in that sea of lights thinking, what the f is she doing? I mean, then again, it is the entertainment industry and they're known for, you know, entertaining. Now, Ye didn't really do much but just stare and observe. He gave no reaction, so we can just assume that this was planned. And just look at how he was looking at her. I mean, this is his wife, and she's showing it all free to the world like that. But he continues looking like she's an object at a museum or something. In my opinion, he's witnessing her become everybody's girl at that moment. I also want to point out that this is a form of flashing and indecent exposure, which she should be in trouble for, considering it's against the law in the state of California and city of LA. So why did no one approach her about that? I have no idea, or who knows if the staff did. I mean, I wasn't there. Now, of course, this whole thing went ballistic on the internet and everyone had something to say. And it doesn't help that this happened near cameras that were doing live broadcasts. Now, from what I know, Ye and Bianca weren't captured on any of that stuff besides the fashion part, but we can't say the same for somebody's son who had a front row ticket to all of this. The fact that a minor was exposed to this and the media is brushing it off like it's normal, that is wild.
Oh, hell no!
More people should be pissed off about this instead of laughing it off, in my opinion. Now, apparently this whole thing was revealed to be a stunt to mimic one of Kanye's album covers, that being Vulture's One. Even if there was some kind of reason to do this, it still doesn't excuse that this is just very degrading and undignifying. Because at this point, it's literally every time Bianca steps out with Ye, she's dressed like erratically. It makes you wonder what she is to him and how he views her, since she is seemingly being treated like a life-size doll. This begs the question, is this all a part of a sick plan in Kanye's vision, or is this something darker than we think and Bianca is secretly crying for help? Regardless, this is hard to tell since we've never seen these two outside of stuff like this. Also, I can't say I'm surprised that she got nude at the Grammys since they've dressed really wacky at other events. It just never got to this crazy level of exposure since this is the Grammys after all. Now, it's worth mentioning that they did stay the entire ceremony. Apparently, Ye came out and said that the media was spreading false rumors that they were escorted out due to being uninvited guests. They stayed the whole time and even attended the after party, where Bianca changed into something that was at least covering a bit more than her first fit. And if you're wondering how the after party went with them, I mean, everything seemed pretty cool and just fine. They were living their rich lives like no big deal, as if the entire world wasn't forced to see all of Bianca once again. It could possibly be that she is actually fine with all this and she's perfectly okay with bringing all this attention to herself, which is sad. And not to get too deep, but stuff like this undermines the progress we're making to keep women respected as individuals and human beings. So when there's individuals out here like Bianca who are doing this with no real intention, it seems, then it just further pushes a handful of lost degens to keep viewing women as is. I'm only saying this because it seems like this kind of stuff has been accepted, and that shouldn't be the case. Now let me know your thoughts on that if you have any, because maybe I'm the crazy one, or who knows, maybe I'm right. It's just my opinion in the end of the day. So like I mentioned earlier, there was no kind of legal action or incident report as far as I know. And this is completely unacceptable. Considering if this was a regular person on the street doing this, they would get sent to the nearest mental institution or prison. I mean, rightfully so. Now in this case, it seems like someone who has money or a high status can expose themselves and not even get a slap on the wrist. Definitely not a good look, especially considering that there was a child involved in this. But Hollywood has been proven many times to be inhabited by freaks, you know? So I'll just say that. And some might try to argue and defend Ye for whatever reason, when in reality, there's nothing cool, artistic, or dare I say empowering about just outright flashing yourself to everyone in the world. Now, chances are this is not going to be the last time they do something like this. They've done this many times, and since no one gets in trouble, I wonder what they got planned next, considering we've seen all of Bianca already. Against our wills. And sadly, I think some of us might agree with that statement. Anyways, real quick, I do want to apologize for getting this video out a little bit later. I was pretty sick and I couldn't really record, and on top of that, I had some stuff come up. So, you know, things get in the way. And it's good to be back. So if you enjoyed the video, I really appreciate it if you drop a like. It really helps a lot. And we'll see what happens next, man. I mean, I'm already burnt out on 2025 and it's only February. I can't imagine what this year is gonna hold for us. But until next time, I'll catch y'all on the next one when there's somebody that does something ridiculous again. And I'm out. Deuces.